All right, question of the day. What is the game that comes to mind when you say, that's a tricky one? Because today we're taking a look at Escape from Stalingrad Z. Now, I know what you're thinking. Bryan, why is that a tricky one? Well, let me just lay out a little history here for you. Many of you know the Eastern Front of World War II was fought between the Nazis and the Red Army. When the Red Army was originally on the side of the Nazis, and then because Hitler attacked the Red Army, Stalin switched to being on the Allied powers. Now, why I bring that up is there's no real good guys in this story. You know what I'm saying? Like, besides the civilians. Because here's what. In this game, Escape from Stalingrad Z, it is, let me just lay the groundwork first of all. If you like Call of Duty, especially Black Ops Zombies, that's what this feels like. This feels like Mauer der Toten, Kino der Toten, all that stuff. It feels like that. However, all of your characters are either Soviets or Nazis that you play as. So pick your poison with that. Anyway, I'm not one to get easily offended. I don't clutch pearls. I don't even fake clutch pearls. I think that stuff's silly. But I did find this a little interesting. I was like, we want to workshop. Maybe one Allied force flies in or something. I don't know. And maybe there's more to it later. I didn't finish the whole campaign, but this is on first impressions and kind of playing through it a little bit. But it is an interesting concept. Don't let that hang up get you. But it just struck me as I opened it. So let's take a look at how this game plays. We'll come back up to talk final thoughts. All right, here is Escape from Stalingrad Z set up. Now, this is the first mission, so don't expect a whole lot of excitement here. You've got your beta zombies, but you go all the way up to the alpha omega zombies, which, let's be honest, not the actual alpha omega, because they're not the beginning and the end, because you're going to end them. That's the whole goal, is to end them. But you have this mission. It tells you what to do here. Yes, that is the title of the mission. There's a lot of things in this game that I'm like, oh, okay. But you have your setup, you have your spawn point for your zombies. The zombies will spawn here. You have your forces. You only start one character, no weapons, no gear, which we have set up here, our health here, and our fatigue here. Actually, I think we should probably put this here as you drop. Now, as you kill more zombies, you're going to gain more powers, more abilities, and you're going to do that by tracking them on the sheet. It tells you how many zombies to set up here in the pool and what to do. Your main objective is to get to the blue doorway and survive. Basically, just get there. Now, you could run, but you're not going to have any gear, because the secondary objective gets you food, ammo, and med kits, which is how you heal. Now, this game does what some games do when it comes to facing. So, currently, my character is facing this arc, which means I started the game here, and it doesn't tell you which facing, so I picked a facing direction. Not that it matters. And then I went 1, because you start with a base movement of 4. 2, 3, because you turn 90 degrees. Now you can either turn, that one's a little tricky. So that would be 1 to turn, or I could have just gone diagonally for 2 points. Either way, to get to this square is going to cost us 2 of our movement points, whether that be facing this direction, 1, turn for 2, and move. No, it's actually cheaper to move diagonally straight across here, facing this direction. Anyway, movement's a little bit messy when it comes to that, but the arcs matter when it comes to the fighting and things like that, because you can only aim in certain directions. Now, you can throw grenades in a lot of directions, but you can only aim in certain directions and fight in certain directions. Think of this as Call of Duty Zombies, but slowed down to board game play. And that's exactly what this is. It's exactly what it's based on, pretty much. I mean, from my opinion, not saying that I'm in the head of the designers, but let's face it, that's what this seems like. You're going to be searching for goods, for items. You're going to get better guns. In fact, you can see the entire armory here. And the guns will tell you what you need to fire. So if you roll a 6 with the KR-98, you'll stun the zombie. If you roll a 10 or 9, you'll do damage to it. Plus, it's got the range. It's got all that sort of stuff. The point blank range means that which is that one there, if you're in that range, you're going to be, it's a better fire. And you have all these action tables over here that modify it. So it's a lot of math that happens quickly and knowing what to do in the right amount of time. But here's the good news. You're playing solo most likely, or at least cooperatively. Now, there is a competitive game, but this game is clearly meant to be a solo campaign. One thing I love, whether you buy the box edition or the book edition, you get the book here. Now, granted, you won't have the standees if you have the book edition. You'll just have little discs. But at that point, who cares? What's the difference between a disc and a standee compared to a painted miniature, which are also available that you can buy and paint? When you fight zombies, you're going to roll, you're going to try to do damage to them. Beta zombies have 1 health, which means if you're able to wound them, boom, you kill them. Some of them have more health, like the alpha zombies, they have 2 health, so you're going to put a wound token on them. You're going to do your activation, which would be movement, attacking if you can, and if you can't, you can do what's called covering attack, which means you'll get a covering token based on what you did. So we walked, so our covering is 2, which will actually hurt our attack bonus a little bit. Positives are bad, negatives are good. I know, crazy. And then you can attack as well. So the whole point of covering is you can kind of wait and see, because I can wait until the zombie's turn to attack. Now that may be my favorite of the little twists and wrinkles of a modular board game, whatever it's called, like a fighting game like this. I like that you can actually wait, because sometimes in games you're setting yourself up for next turn. Well, this one you can set yourself up for the zombie's turn, so the zombie could spawn. So we come out this door essentially, eventually we will. A zombie could be right there, and we could see if what kind of zombie it is based on, you know, the mission. This is just mission 1, that's why I don't mind showing you. If a certain type of zombie spawns, we could have held our attack until that moment to fight that with the right appropriate thing. You're going to be searching, finding weapons, finding civilians. You can use a civilian as a human shield. Yeah, a lot of bad guys in this game. You can do all the things that you would do essentially in Call of Duty Zombies, although I don't think there are civilians in that. We've played a whole lot of it. Let's go, Nuketown 84. But that is the essential gist of the game. You'll activate, the zombies will activate. You'll see if you make the objective by the end of it. If you don't, you're going to get a replay amount based on the difficulty you choose. So if you choose super hard difficulty, you obviously won't be able to replay as many times. And it says if you run out of replays, game overs, it's game over, right? Continues, it's game over. But let's be honest, as solo board gamers, no one's there to check up on us. So we don't particularly care if we lost. Case in point, let's say hypothetically a game says, do you want to stand on this pentagram? And your choice as a team is, yeah, let's see what happens. You turn over the card after you've done that and you go, oh, let's pretend we didn't do that. That's how I view solo gaming. Some people are very hardline on that. I am not. I'm here for the experience, because otherwise I could just go turn on my PlayStation and cap a zombie right in the forehead. Metaphysically, because that's violent. Rated M, much like this game. All right, that is Escape from Stalingrad Z. Now, first and foremost, concept of the game. Got to give it a 6 only for that weird hang-up I have of, hey, do you want to be a Nazi? No. Oh, really? Okay, what about a Red Army Soviet? Not really. Don't want to do that either. So that dings it a little bit, but also derivative is a term I don't like to use too much, because it is, every game's derivative, right? There's no idea under the sun, but this one just doesn't do anything super new, because, you know, a lot of zombicide and stuff like that. What was the old World War II? And somebody can tell me what that one is down in the comments below. But, so I give it a 6. Now, that is the lowest score this gets, and we only go up from here. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised if you're a fan of this game what my final review is going to be, but I just want you to know ahead of time. So, 6 for concept. Board layout is an 8. I'm sitting on the wrong side again, aren't I? Man, okay, well, oh well. Board layout's an 8.5, excuse me. And why it gets an 8.5 is because it's a book. I love it when a campaign is in a book. To me, that is the cleanest thing, instead of find tile A1 and B2 and C7. No, it's a book, you put it together, or you don't put anything together, you just flip to the next page, and flip to the next page. I love that. It's a really well-made book. And it shows you where to put everything, so that's really nice. The mechanics, I give it an 8, even though I'm a little trepidatious about the whole turning thing. Now, why I don't, that doesn't hurt its opinion. It is annoying sometimes to go, ugh, it's going to cost me more movement points to turn and face this. Unless I'm playing Tomb Raider 1, where you literally had to stop moving forward, turn left, and then walk forward, or Resident Evil 1, that would make sense, other than I can do this as a human being. See, that didn't take me any extra movement points. Now, I get it. It's trying to simulate like a very short amount of time happening over the course of an hour board game, so I get that. But the art is a 7.5. It's okay. It's not, excuse me, art direction, first of all. I think that's what we cover with the book. Art direction, it's okay. We didn't cover art direction. Sorry, art direction is an 8. Everything's there. Your board is nice, like your player board is nice. But the art itself, the weird pictures for the characters is interesting. I don't know if they're all dead and zombies or whatever. But then again, those of you who have completely finished the campaign, maybe you can tell me a little bit more about that. But the gameplay is an 8. I like it. I just think it's a solid, well-made zombie shooting game with a lot of little neat intricacies. And the rule book's an 8. It's actually a really thick rule book, but it doesn't feel like you're reading War and Peace. It actually flows really easy. This is one of the few games I've picked up and learned from the rule book that I thought I wasn't going to when I first picked it up, because I don't like reading long, thick rule books where I'm like, oh my gosh, I've already forgotten the first part of the game by the time I get to the back of the rule book. This one actually flowed really well, and it does a great job of explaining everything. So that comes to an overall of a 7.5. That is a good score, 7.5, because it was actually 7.6, 7 or 7.7, whatever. But we do halves here, so 7.5, or it would have been an 8 if we'd gone just over the hash mark. So 7.5 is a solid game. That's like a 3.5 stars for Dave Meltzer. But that is Escape from Stalingrad Z. Let me know in the comments what you think below. Also, make sure to check out one of our brand new merch products that we have. We've got the Dice Tower 8-Bit Tom 2024 edition, now with full 8-bit background that you can imagine yourself yelling at your brother for your turn to play, or knocking over the shelves in, hypothetically, Bayou La Batterie's video game store, and your mom wouldn't let you rent Mega Man 6 that day because you knocked over the shelves because you were fighting with your brother. But you can imagine that while you're wearing Tom in this shirt. So get that today at DicetowerStore.com. Until next time, we will see you